The year is 1199 AD. The king is dead, the crown is gone, and you, as well as some other Anglo-Saxon and the dreaded Norman lords, are trying to go for the throne. Welcome, defender of the crown.
RetroKork.
Defender of the Crown actually was CinemaWare's debut title for the Commodore 64, and to their own name, this feels like an interactive movie at times. And yes, it helps that the game itself draws inspiration from 1950s movies like Ivanhoe, the Robin Hood movies, and any of the Cloak and Dagger movies starring Errol Flynn, as long as he's not out on sea. Robin Hood himself, or better to say, Robin of Locksley, is actually introducing the story to the player, and in addition he's available to help you out a few times throughout the game. So yes, the player takes on the role of one of three Anglo-Saxon lords, while the computer takes the role of the other two, as well as the opposing Normans. Your goal is to expand your realm, which starts out rather modest, and to fend off and capture the three opposing Normannic lords' homesteads. To fend off the lords and to capture their homestead. The victor is the side that conquers the three opposing homesteads. Actually, you can choose between four characters, one of them being very difficult to start with. Wulfric the Wild. And you start in October 1199 with 20 men as your army. And to fight the Normans, you need to make money, maybe even get a girl, get land, increase your army sooner or later. By pressing fire, you switch to the map of the land, separated into 18 provinces. You only need to capture the homestead of an opposing lord to kick him out of the race for the crown, even if other castles have been captured. If the same happens to your homestead, well, it's game over. Your army, by the way, is represented by the black horse. And in the top left corner, there's the menu. You can hold a tournament, try to conquer another province, go and raid a castle, buy more soldiers, read the map, or pass. And you shouldn't pass. One of the more important things here is conquest. I mean, after all, you need to get to the enemy. To conquer another province, all you have to do is send your campaign army there. Simple, eh? You can create a campaign army by transferring soldiers from your garrison to the army. Then you move, by move army, to a different province and conquer it. If there's no one there, well, it's automatically conquered. If there is an opposing army, you will go into combat. If an allied lord holds the province, you can either let it be, or attack him and make a new enemy. So in combat, you can order your troops to do a ferocious attack, which means your knights will swing their swords more ferociously, and of course the opposing knights will do the same. If you have more knights than your opponent, this gives you an advantage. If you have no knights, this has no effect, as far as I can tell. Stand and fight, well, that's your standard combat. Here, no one has a special influence on the outcome, and it's merely a numbers game. The larger army wins. Outflank. Yeah, that's a strategy. You can try outflanking your enemies, and if you have the higher leadership value, well, this gives you an advantage. You can also bombard, which loads the catapults. If you have more catapults than your opponent, this is helpful, otherwise it's pretty hopeless and useless. Oh, and then there's of course retreat, but it's of course self-explanatory, isn't it? If you were secluded or defending, your army will be destroyed. Also, I think this costs you a bit of leadership. If you try conquering a home province, a homestead, you need to have a catapult because it is mandatory for the next step. Because you'll have to besiege the castle. First, you use boulders to open a breach. Later on, you may send either Greek fire or deceased corpses flying, though you have only 6 shots or so, I believe. A raid has you do a cloak and dagger operation, and yes, you can ask Robin Hood to help you out a bit as well. You can go left or right in this, because it's you. Up or down defense, and fire, well, fire stabs. Go to the treasure chamber and don't get disarmed, or you'll have to pay for it in both leadership and ransom. Tournaments can be for fame or acreage, a province basically, and you go 3 rounds against different enemies. Be warned, stabbing the horse will cost you pretty much everything. Now you move your lance with a joystick and you press fire to hit the enemy's shield to knock him out of the saddle. Buying army is probably one of the main things you're going to do, simply because it'll be difficult later on. A single soldier costs you 1 gold, a knight, who's great at working from behind a barrier of soldiers, costs you 8 gold, a catapult, which is required for sieges and can theoretically, in larger quantities, ensure victory in the battlefield, costs 15 gold, and castles, which basically are a 15 soldier garrison and not worth it, according to some people, costs 20 gold. New army members join your home garrison first and can be picked up by the campaign army in the next moves. Now, besides all that, there are a few random events which may or may not happen every turn. The ever so popular tax collector gets robbed event, costing you half your income for the turn. A revolution in a province, which then turns neutral again. Marauding Danish or Vikings pillaging your land, costing you both gold and soldiers. Norman sabotage on a catapult. And finally, the Rescue the Maid event, in which the daughter of an allied lord is kidnapped and you can rescue her or hide in a hole and suffer a leadership penalty. If you go out and rescue her, a raid plays out, and at the end, the army and the lands of that allied lord become more or less yours. They are available for you at his homestead, which can save you some trouble. Oh, and you get to see a small animation. to serious business now. Remember your allies? Well, they may turn on you if they have the feeling they stand a chance at winning the crown themselves. So you gotta keep your eyes peeled, and yeah, you might have to attack them. Next time, next time, I'm Batman.